We finally are going to get that stimulus, about $900 billion. What do you make of it?
Better than the alternative. Good insurance against things going wrong. Glad to see more investments in testing. Really sorry to see that we're not supporting state and local governments. It's not a healthy thing that we couldn't reach some kind of compromise on the liability issue and the state and local government issue. That's really a very poor reflection on our system. And I'm not sure we needed an across-the-board set of checks for households at this date, given that the vaccine is on the way, given that there's very substantial accumulated savings in large parts of the household sector. So I'm glad to see that stimulus is coming. I'm glad to see help for small business. I'm glad to see continuation of unemployment insurance. But this is not as good a bill as we could have had. Still, it's better than I expected 2 weeks ago, and we should be grateful for that.
So pick up on your point about checks going to everybody, regardless of what their particular needs are or not. We heard from Chair Jay Powell of the Federal Reserve this week saying he thinks overall that the prospects are brightening for the U.S. economy in 2021. We have a rough patch to go through, but we do have a vaccine coming. But he also pointed out that really below that top line number, there are some people doing very, very well, whether it's individuals or corporations, and other people doing really not well at all. What can we do about that part of the problem?
Look, it's a K-shaped recovery. There's no question that for people who can sit in the solitary splendor of their homes, doing their work by Zoom, having their groceries delivered with more family around than usual, this has not been an agonizing period. For others who work with their hands, who are providing those deliveries, who don't have the kind of space to be fully safe and may not even have the kind of cash flow to be able to buy both their medicines and their food, it's been a very, very difficult period. This is why we need a more just and generous society. We need a stronger set of refundable tax credits, particularly the child care tax credit. Above all, though, we need to run this economy strong and have an economy where the dominant theme is jobs trying to find workers, rather than the dominant theme being workers trying to find jobs.
Larry, as you just laid out, the Biden administration, as it comes in next month, has a long list on its agenda economically for the United States. At the same time, I wonder about globally. Can we really succeed in the long term in the United States without having the global economy recover? What lessons are there from the pandemic for the global economy?
I used to say when I was Treasury Secretary that the world economy couldn't fly forever on a single American engine, or that no nation can be an oasis of prosperity in a troubled world. I think we're going to reap very substantial consequences from the fact that after decades, when developing countries were developing and were catching up with the world's major economies, that trend is going into reverse right now, given the difficulties they're having in managing COVID, managing reduced exports, managing heavy debts, managing reduced remittances. And we need to step up on that. We need to step up with very substantial global financial support provided through the international financial institutions. We need to step up with an SDR, special drawing right allocation from the IMF. We need to step up with much more investment in making sure that there's not another pandemic. And while we're at it, making sure that there really are the resources to get vaccine to all the people on the planet, not just the people in the rich countries, as quickly as possible. We've got two K-shaped recovery problems we need to fight. A K-shaped recovery problem in America and a K-shaped recovery problem globally. ultimately it's going to be cheaper for us to fight that fight, to support developing countries sooner rather than to support them later. And I hope that one of the first initiatives of the Biden administration will be bringing a global dimension to the COVID recovery effort.
We always like to end the week with a lightning round, as Summer says. Let's take 3 questions here. Number one, we heard Jay Powell, the chair of the Fed this week, say he's not going to back off bond buying until we really restore a lot of the employment. When are we going to be back to a 4% unemployment rate in this country?
End of 2022.
And what about inflation? He also talked about inflation. When will we be back over 2% inflation in the United States?
Sometime during 2022. We'll see at least several months because of some combination of specific factors where the inflation rate will get above 2%, would be my guess. I think that may come sooner than people think.
And Larry, finally, we've seen yet again the markets really hold up no matter what's going on with respect to COVID-19 as it spreads rapidly throughout the country. Are the markets, the equity markets in particular, are they justified right now? Are they priced about right? Are they overpriced? Where do you think they are?
Many people think they're overpriced because they look at a very strong, very high price-earnings ratio. I think that the kind of analysis that Chairman Powell offered in his testimony on Wednesday was right when he emphasized that you have to look at price-earnings ratios in the context of real interest rates, and that with real interest rates low for what I think are quite deep-seated structural reasons, my guess is that you're going to see markets priced not unreasonably. That doesn't mean they're going to keep going up as fast as they have in the last 6 months, but I don't have a sense of extremely precarious bubble.
What does that do to price discovery in the equity markets as a practical matter? Because the low interest rates are true for everybody, whether you're a well-run company or a poorly run company. Are we sustaining sometimes they call them zombie companies who don't have enough EBITDA to really service the debt? Is there a risk here to the economy in the long run that we don't have price discovery really sorting out the sheep from the goats, if I can put it that way, in corporations?
There may be a bit of that, David, but I actually think the larger effect is probably that low interest rates mean lower discounting of the future. And so everybody's encouraged to take a longer view in their economic decision making. And it's that forward-looking activity that's most likely to deliver large external benefits to the economy. So I think one should see these low interest rates more as an opportunity than as a burden.